Then he made the disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. After he had dismissed the crowds, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone. But the boat by this time was many furlongs distant from the land, beaten by the waves, for the wind was against them. And in the fourth watch of the night, he came to them, walking on the sea. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified.
It is a ghost!
And they cried out for fear. But immediately he spoke to them.
Take heart, it is I. Have no fear.
And Peter answered him,
Lord, if it is you, bid me come to you on the water.
Come.
So Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water and came to Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out,
Lord, save me!
Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him.
Oh, man of little faith, why did you doubt?
And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased. Those in the boat worshipped him.
Truly, you are the Son of God.
Peter said to him in reply, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. He said, Come. What a wonderful expression of faith. St. Peter, caught in stormy conditions on the sea, expressed his complete confidence that if Jesus were to call him out of the boat to walk on water, it would happen. Jesus does call him to himself, and St. Peter begins to walk on water. Of course, we know what happened next. Peter was filled with fear and began to sink. Fortunately, Jesus caught him and all was well. Interestingly, this story reveals much to us about our own lives of faith and much more about the goodness of Jesus. So often, we begin with a faith in our head and have every intention of living that faith. Like Peter, we often make firm resolutions to trust in Jesus and to walk on water at his command. However, all too often we experience the same thing Peter did. We start to live the trust we express in Jesus only to suddenly waver and give in to fear in the midst of our hardship. We begin to sink and have to cry out for help. In some ways, the ideal would have been if Peter expressed his faith in Jesus and then walked to him without faltering. But in other ways, this is the ideal story in that it reveals the depth of Jesus' mercy and compassion. It reveals that Jesus will catch us and draw us out of our doubts and fears when our faith gives way. This story is much more about Jesus' compassion and the extent of his help than it is about Peter's lack of faith. Reflect today upon any way that you have had great intentions of trusting Jesus, started down that path, and then have fallen. Know that Jesus is full of compassion and will reach out to you in your weakness, just as he did to Peter. Let him grab your hand and strengthen your lack of faith out of his abundance of love and mercy. Let us pray. Lord, I do believe. Help me when I falter. Help me to always turn to you when the storms and challenges of life seem to be too much. May I trust that in those moments more than any other, you are there, reaching out your hand of grace. Jesus, I trust in you.